China's largest civilian patrol boat entered service on Saturday, with the state broadcaster CCTV reporting that it would be used to deliver strategic resources and help protect the country's maritime claims. The Haixun 09, or Sea Patrol, was commissioned under the Maritime Safety Administration, or MSA, of the southern province of Guangdong Province, which oversees the South China Sea. With a 10,700-ton displacement, it is also the most advanced ship in the civilian fleet and is equipped with water cannons, an aerial tracking system, medical rescue capabilities, and a helicopter landing deck, according to CCTV. Colin Ko, a research fellow from the Institute of Defense and Strategic Studies at Singapore's Nanyang Technological University, said the MSA seemed to be upgrading its emergency response fleet as part of an inter-service rivalry with the Coast Guards. He said that the MSA has previously deployed assets to the disputed Spratly Islands in the South China Sea, adding that it could justify its actions as contributing to the common public good by providing equipment for emergency responses, for example, search and rescue operations. Overall, this will lend to the effect of helping China assert its control in the area, including enforcing navigational rules vis-à-vis foreign vessels, Ko said. Beijing announced a new rule at the end of August that all foreign ships entering the areas of the South China Sea it claims must register their details with the Chinese maritime authorities. Yue Gang, a former colonel of the People's Liberation Army, expressed caution about the deployment of Haixun 09, saying it should be more geared toward civilian uses. The ship can travel 180,000 kilometers, which is roughly the length of China's coastline, without refueling and could carry out operations such as rescues and enforcing fishing rules across the Bohai Sea or the East China Sea, according to Yue. But the South China Sea is sensitive. Long-term deployment of the vessel to the area could lead to conflict, Yue said. If Haixun 09 is sent to the area but does not take enforcement action against rival claimants such as Vietnam, Malaysia, and the Philippines in areas China claims for itself, then it would undermine Beijing's authority. But, if the patrol boat takes action, then it could lead to an international confrontation, something that China does not want, Yue said. It can be dispatched to places like the Paracel Islands in the South China Sea for a symbolic tour, passing neighboring countries and showing off China's maritime power and capabilities. But I don't think it's the time yet for permanent long-term deployment, Yue said. With record numbers of military flights near Taiwan over the last week, China has been showing a new intensity and military sophistication as it steps up its harassment of the island it claims as its own and asserts its territorial ambitions in the region. China's People's Liberation Army flew 56 planes off the southwest coast of Taiwan on Monday, setting a new record and capping 4 days of sustained pressure involving 149 flights. All were in international airspace, but prompted Taiwanese defense forces to scramble in response and raised fears that any misstep could provoke an unintended escalation. The sorties came as China, with growing diplomatic and military power, faces greater pushback from countries in the region and an increasing naval presence from the United States and other Western democracies in Asia as Taiwan pleads for more global support and recognition. The U.S. called China's latest actions risky and destabilizing, while China responded that the U.S. selling weapons to Taiwan and its ships navigating the Taiwan Strait were provocative. At the same time as the flights, the U.S. stepped up naval maneuvers in the Indo-Pacific with its allies, challenging Beijing's territorial claims in critical waterways. Taiwanese Defense Minister Chu Kuo-cheng told legislators Wednesday that the situation is the most severe in the 40 years since I've enlisted. While most agree that war is not imminent, Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen warned that more is at stake if Beijing makes good on past threats to seize the island by force if necessary. If Taiwan were to fall, the consequences would be catastrophic for regional peace and the democratic alliance system, she wrote in an impassioned op-ed in Foreign Affairs magazine published Tuesday. It would signal that in today's global contest of values, authoritarianism has the upper hand over democracy. China regularly flies military aircraft into Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, international airspace that Taiwan counts as a buffer in its defense strategy, although previous flights have usually involved a handful of planes at most. Perhaps more significant than the number of planes was the constitution of the group, with fighters, bombers, and airborne early warning aircraft, said Ewan Graham, a defense analyst with the International Institute for Strategic Studies in Singapore. That's the level of sophistication. It looks like a strike package, and that's part of the step up in pressure, he said. This is not a couple of fighters coming close and then going straight back after putting one wing across the median. This is a much more purposeful maneuver. Controlling Taiwan and its airspace is key to China's military strategy, with the area where the most recent sorties took place also leading to the West Pacific and the South China Sea. The latest maneuvers bring the total number of flights to more than 815 as of Monday since the Taiwanese government started publicly releasing the numbers a little more than a year ago. China has been rapidly improving and strengthening its military, and the most recent flights demonstrate a greater level of technical expertise and power, said Chen Yitu, a researcher at the Institute for National Defense and Security Research in Taiwan. It's a marked contrast from 30 years ago, when Chinese forces couldn't refuel in the air, or fly across the water, said Ariana Schuyler Mastro, a fellow at Freeman Spogli Institute for International Studies at Stanford University and non-resident senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute in Washington, D.C. I think China is trying to remind the US and Taiwan that this is not them, that they have options, she said. They can do what they want, that they won't be deterred. At the same time, many democracies have been increasingly vocal in their support of Taiwan and have stepped up naval operations in the area. As China was conducting its most recent flights, 17 ships from 6 navies, the US, Britain, Japan, Netherlands, Canada, and New Zealand, including 3 aircraft carriers and a Japanese helicopter carrier, carried out joint maneuvers off the Japanese island of Okinawa, northeast of Taiwan, meant to show their commitment to a free and open Indo-Pacific. A few days earlier, the British frigate HMS Richmond transited through the Taiwan Strait, announcing its presence on Twitter and angering China, which condemned the move as a meaningless display of presence with an insidious intention. The international actions are an attempt to counter China's frequent claim that its own actions are in response to American moves, and demonstrate that democracies intend to defend established maritime laws and norms, Graham said.